Hi, my name is Rick Gendro. My company is DRG. We are a residential real estate brokerage in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Sean, what was your first question?
First question was, how has your experience been with our team and processes here at Scale Virtually?
I'll start by saying the experience has been really good. We have three divisions of DRG: sales, leasing, and management. I am CFO for the company, but I also oversee the management division. Management for DRG has always been purely a vehicle to keep the sales and leasing clients in the family. But in August of 2022, we made a decision to pivot and make management as a division a profit center. At the time, I think we were managing about 430 doors. And a door is any property that we're managing at the time. And we had 5 people. And we wanted to get to 1,500 doors. And we wanted to increase revenues from 100,000 to 2 million within about 6 years' time. I knew that to be able to do that, we were going to need some good people. And so I actually met with, it's not a competitor in the market, but another service provider in the market. And we spent a couple hours over an afternoon just talking about the business and me picking his brain. And he actually mentioned Scale Virtually. And I didn't know anything about VAs. And so he kind of walked me through how he got involved with Scale and how it might be an opportunity for me. So, all right, let's give it a shot. So I ended up reaching out, and this goes back again. We made the decision in August of 2022. I think by September, mid-September, Sean, you and I may have been talking briefly. And then you introduced me to some of the other folks on your team, Boom and Jansen and Roe and some of the other folks. And boy, they really did a great job. They just kind of took me by the hand, said, here's what we do, here's how we can do it for you. I said, great, let's give it a shot. One of the first things they did, which was incredibly helpful, was help me define, clarify, and document our processes. Even if I hadn't hired anybody from Scale Virtually, just that step has made a huge impact on our business. But in going through that process, then we were talking about the abilities and skill sets that a virtual assistant or a VA might need. So once they were maybe halfway through the documenting process, we had a list of things that I should be looking for in a virtual assistant. And of course, they once again took me by the hand and were able to go through their pool of applicants and bring me 3 or 4 or 5, I think, really good potential candidates. And I brought in my whole team, and we sat down and over Zoom interviewed the various applicants. And we picked, her name is May Joy Adrias. And a few weeks later, we had May hired. I think it was the end of October of 2022. And so I had a brand new VA filling a brand new role. So May came in as a maintenance coordinator. Now back up just a little bit. We knew to get from 400 to 1,500 doors and from 100,000 to 2 million in revenues, we were going to have to change some things. One of the things that we decided was we were going to take maintenance and grow that as a subdivision within the division. DRG had been focused primarily on condos in the downtown market. We were going to increase our market share in single-family homes and multifamily properties. And we were going to do some other things, but the first thing that we chose was that maintenance. Now, we had been doing some of that, but not very much. I think our annual revenues on maintenance were maybe $30,000. May came in as our maintenance coordinator. And together with the work that Jansen at Scale Virtually had put in, we had a new process by which May could help us coordinate getting various work orders scheduled, completed, and confirmed. And then once they were confirmed, then we could invoice those on a timely basis. And just that coordination not only helped us increase our ability to do those work orders, to do those procedures, but also increase the service we were providing to both the tenants and the owners. We weren't thinking about this at the time, but we were also able to increase our service to our vendors. And I don't know how many times we've heard from vendors, boy, that May is fantastic. I mean, if we've got a question, we reach out to her, or she reaches out to us if it goes beyond the scheduled time, says, hey guys, do you need any help? So having May as a maintenance coordinator alone has brought us from maybe 30,000 annual to about 150,000 annual in maintenance, and we'll go from there well past the $500,000 mark, I would guess within another 12 to 18 months. So that was our first ad, was the maintenance coordinator through Scale Virtually. Now, a few months after that, we started adding some multifamily properties and some single family properties, which is great. But we had, three property managers at the time. I knew we were going to need to have 4, but I wanted to increase their efficiency. I wanted to find some way for them to focus strictly on owners and tenants and kind of be flight controllers for everything else. So we knew we were going to need a management coordinator to kind of go with, and side by side, the maintenance coordinator that we had hired. And right away, got a hold of Scale Virtually. Ended up talking to Jansen again, who helped us map out that process. And we ended up hiring Karen. And what Karen has done for us, first of all, she took over the seat as our call intake during business hours. So immediately had an impact, because now we weren't trying to figure out who was going to answer the phones all the time. But more importantly, similar to what May was doing, coordinating communication between vendors and owners and tenants, we gave, and actually it was wonderful, Karen stepped up and took responsibility for our lease end process. Now, what that means for our business is, as a lease is coming closer to an end, actually now we start at 6 months, Karen was able to begin communications and track those communications between the owner, the tenant, the property manager, and in our case, the leasing agent, and keep those on track until we got to either a renewal or deciding there wasn't going to be a renewal. And in so doing, we were able to decrease our vacancies for our owners by about 25%, because we knew now more effectively and more consistently when a unit was going to become vacant down the road. So our leasing agents were able to start marketing it sooner. So those were our 2 virtual assistant hires through Scale Virtually. And again, in both of those roles, one of the best things for us, and it's been helpful in our making decisions, it's been helpful for me helping work with and manage the VAs, is mapping out that process, figuring out step by step what it is we do and how that impacts our business. So yeah, my experience with Scale Virtually has been fantastic so far.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rick. I have a couple specific questions that I'll just throw in here. How would you rate your VAs 1 to 10 if you had to rate them?
Oh, how would I rate my VAs 1 to 10? That's a hard question for me to answer, because these are the first 2 VAs I've ever had. So I'll have to put that in context. How are they performing up against the other folks that we've got here in the office? They've been fantastic. Their attention to detail, their work ethic has been spectacular. I mean, they really care about what it is that they're doing. And what's been fun is they're a part of the family. I mean, they're in a different room, but the amount of communication, the amount of interaction, and just the way they fit into our culture has been something I didn't foresee at all. In fact, as it turns out, both Karen and May are from the same region. So they knew some of the same people, and Karen got a hold of us. We have a weekly, it's called an L10 meeting, but during one of the L10 meetings, Karen mentioned that she found somebody from her hometown that had opened a restaurant here in Minneapolis, just north of about 20 minutes. She said, you got to get a hold of these folks. So we ended up packing up the office. We went up to this restaurant. We did a FaceTime with Karen, and the restaurateur and Karen knew each other. And we sat down for this amazing family style meal. I think we were up there for about 2.5 hours. It was spectacular.
That's awesome. That's a first here, I think, at Scale Virtually for sure. Incredible. Well, let me ask you, thank you for that. How would you, if you had to rate our process engineering 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
How would I rate the process engineering? I have been involved in, oh gosh, I don't know. Half of my life has been in the franchise world and half has been in the independent business world. And I've actually helped other entrepreneurs start their businesses. So I have been part of mapping out processes and mapping out strategies. I'm 173 years old for a long time, so I've been doing it. But man, when I sat down with Jansen, his ability to ask questions, zero in on maybe what was a soft spot was spectacular. So I would rate Scale Virtually's ability to map out a process and really clarify that process as good or better than any I've been a part of. So I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Thank you so much for that. Well, let me ask you, this has been great. What has made you the happiest about working with our company? If you got more than one thing, we'd love to know what those things are. But, because it sounds like you have some, like, it sounds like you've really built strong relationships with the team over here and the people that we've provided to you. But I'd love to hear, like, what has been the game changer for you, the thing where it just, rises above the rest.
Yeah, and again, your question was, what have I been happy about in working with Scale Virtually? Well,
Right.
as I mentioned, getting that process mapped out, or in this case, duplicate processes, as a starter has just been really a blessing to me. And it's had an immediate and ongoing impact on our business because it brings so much clarity to not only the roles of the virtual assistants, but so that everybody else knows what their role is and helps separate the various efforts throughout the division. And then the assistants themselves, Karen and May, man, I mentioned it earlier, but their work ethic, their desire to want to contribute and to want to take responsibility and to want to have an impact is so wonderfully received. It's one thing for me as an employer, as a boss, to say, here's what I want, and I'm really glad these guys are doing it. But everybody in the division sees what they're doing and not only appreciates it, but also kind of ups their game a little bit because they know now that they're working with professionals who are there to support them, and they want to make sure that they honor that effort. So yeah, working with those virtual assistants. I started out, I was a little bit nervous, hadn't never worked with somebody in this capacity before, but man, it's been incredible. And in fact, we're right now going through the process of hiring our third, and probably within the next 6 months, there will be a fourth and a fifth coming on board. So the fact that I continue to add them is probably good testimony of the fact that I'm having a good experience.
Awesome. So we're really helping you scale virtually. We're coming, the name is
there you go. Yeah, there you
go. So I would say, what is the main reason you would recommend our service to anybody? I guess I would ask this another thing. I'll ask it this way. would you recommend our service? If you could phrase the thing, be like, I would absolutely recommend, or however you want to state it, would you recommend our service to another company?
Sure, sure. I mentioned earlier that I have been involved in starting a number of franchises, non-franchises, independent businesses, and then helping other people start their own businesses. And one of the things that I typically talk to an entrepreneur about is, how are you going to grow this business? And almost always, one of the first things I suggest is get yourself some good administrative help. Whether that's helping you with your books or helping you with phone calls or keeping your documents straight or your communications, whatever it is. Entrepreneurs typically want to do it all themselves. Now, would I recommend scale virtually? Well, first and foremost, yes, get yourself some admin help. If you want to grow, get somebody else to do the stuff that you don't necessarily need to do. I know you're good at it, but you don't need to be doing that. Go out and grow the business. Find somebody that can help you with the day-to-day administrative stuff. And scale virtually has just been spectacular, because the second thing that entrepreneurs aren't typically good at is mapping out or putting in detail how the business is going to run. They're normally what I call coconut tree shakers. They see a coconut tree, they run up and they shake it. And before they've collected the coconuts and processed them, they're on to the next coconut tree. Somebody behind them has got a process. Well, that's what scale virtually is. They allow entrepreneurs to go out and grow that business while they take care of the operations. They're there to support the entrepreneurs, to support the people doing and growing the business. So absolutely, I would suggest, if you're in business and you're looking to grow, this is a good way to scale virtually.
Terrific. All right, Rick. Well, you've given us, I think you've given us the most content we've ever gotten. So thank you so much. We've got our work cut out to kind of splice this down into something that we can use, but that was exceptional. I really, really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
And on another note, if there's anybody that you think that we could help out, if you're into these other businesses, one of the largest ways that we grow is through referrals. And we pay $400 per person that refers somebody to us. So if you know anybody, we'd love to connect with them. And we do work with the PM space, but you can see how we go about doing our business. We'd be happy to talk to anybody in the franchise. We work with a lot of franchises as well. We man customer service centers and do bookkeeping and stuff like that for a lot of the franchises.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right.
I'll keep my eyes and ears open for you, Sean.
All right. Well, you're the best, man. I really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch. We look forward to bringing you another exceptional candidate and keeping you growing and supporting you in any way we can. Okay.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Sean. Take care.
Bye-bye.